Hey, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
I'm so excited about today. It's so good. Everybody come in. Let us know where you're watching from. Let me share this right now.
I'm sharing.
Everybody, if you would please share. I'm so excited about today.
Uh-oh.
And turn your phone down, Toya.
Turn your phone down.
As you
Don't mind me.
She's doing her own thing.
We're gonna get Joya acclimated to this,
I've been away for so long. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now.
Right.
Oh.
Joya, are you home?
Huh?
Are you home?
Today is my last day of work. And I fly out tomorrow at 7:30
we have
in the morning.
Jill from North Carolina.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Jesus. I'm so excited.
Joy, we are happy that you're on your way.
This has been a long 2 months.
I know. Well, ladies, we are. This is a very special Friday for us, and it's been a blessing that we've had special guests every week for the last 4 weeks. It's been amazing, and I'm loving each and every one of these episodes because they are enlightening us, especially during these times right now. I am most, I guess, grateful that the conversation has been so positive surrounding helping people and surrounding us really getting ourselves together and what we should do. And so today, one of our very special guests, and first let me start the show off by saying thank you to Elder Mark Moore Jr. for this amazing platform. And even the opportunity that YLC brings. Like this is, YLC TV has been unprecedented for news and relative conversations surrounding the topics of what's going on in America today. And so I do want to stop and salute him for the platform, for having the unction to even have this and the boldness to have the voice, because there are very unpopular opinions. There are people who are quiet. And on YLC TV, we bring it and we can be quiet no longer than we've ever been. So it's just an amazing opportunity. So we thank you for that. And then all of our ladies that are here today, I want to introduce everybody. Next to me is Miss Dana. And Miss Dana, are you there, Dana? She looks frozen, but okay, here she is. She's coming in. She's having some 2G issues, but it's gonna happen. And then we have Dr. Matisa. How are you, Tisa?
Everybody.
Good to see you. Miss Toya, who is all the way in Connecticut, but she will be home tomorrow in less than 24 hours.
Finally.
She will be landing in Atlanta. So we're very happy about that. But today I want to introduce our very special guest to everyone. We have Miss Chonya Johnson. And let me give you just some history about Chonya. She served in the United States Congress. She's handled key policy issues in health, education, labor, immigration, and international affairs. Since 1999, she's gained valuable firsthand experiences on the intricacies of the government and the concerns of interns, advocates, constituents, and businesses. She's a fighter and a champion. I already like that because she's coming on with some fighters. But she's a fighter and a champion for ordinary citizens and organizations that face tough issues. Her real life experiences and insight on what works while being of service has allowed her to survive the game of politics beyond the political parties and bureaucracy. So she fought diligently to get constituents a second chance to plead their case before federal, state, and local agencies. And today she is here as an award-winning author just to give us insight and tell us on what we can do now that we've protested, and it seems like the protests are going on because there's always a new issue. But now that we've protested, what is next? Miss Chonya, please come in and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Chonya.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
How are you today?
Welcome. I'm well.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon. This is the panel or the talk show of all things new. We talk about all of our life's issues, what's going on, how it impacts us, and not just our sisters, but our brothers as well, and especially in light of everything that's going on, our Black men. And so if you would just give us a little bit, I introduced you some, but if you can just introduce yourself and give us what you've been doing lately and what you're most involved with right now.
Okay. Woo, I've been doing a lot. You guys, I'm in the Washington, D.C. area now. I recently left my, I would say my career on Capitol Hill. I'm now working for a national, international organization called Bread for the World as their senior domestic policy analyst. And so right now, what I'm in the throes of is advocating for SNAP benefits. And if you're familiar with safety net programs in the U.S. as it relates to hunger, as it relates to making sure our babies have food on the table during the summer months, that is what I'm working on now. And I hear a little feedback. So let me see. Do you guys hear that feedback? Or is that me?
I hear a little feedback, but you're fine.
Okay.
I think you're fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and so that's what I'm doing. So right now in Congress, we're advocating that they increase SNAP benefits by 15% for families. What we understand is that families are not able to sustain themselves on the benefits that they're receiving each month. And so we're asking Congress to give a 15% increase. The second thing that I have been advocating and lobbying for is pandemic EBT, which is to provide resources to the persons who receive SNAP benefits, additional resources to feed their children through the summer. There's no summer programs. They're not able to go and get lunch, meals, or breakfast because they were already on free and reduced lunch. And so we're asking Congress to give additional money for that. And then one of my last things that we're advocating for is $12 billion for international aid so that other countries will be able to get the resources they need to fight hunger, but also to address the issues around COVID. So that's what I'm doing professionally at work. And then on the side, I'm doing these conversations right here, having candid conversations with women just like yourself to talk about what else we can do. People are protesting. They're in the middle of the streets. We had a little conversation earlier about what part you do. I don't do the streets. I do the calls. I do the writing of letters. I do the educating of people to get them more that you can do. So that's kind of like what I'm doing now. And I'm doing a lot of reading because, you know, I got to know what's going on around the world.
I know that's right. Well, we appreciate it. You are really busy. So that's a lot and all good things. And there's so many opportunities that we have. It sounds like somebody is typing, but I'm thinking that it's not. It could just be feedback, but you guys hear that?
Yes, we hear it.
I'm not sure what that is, but
everybody show their hands. Everybody show their hands.
Right? Really? Seriously, Joya? Like with children? I don't know what that is.
I still hear it, but hopefully your audience is able to get past the clicking.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to open it up for questions from our individuals who are watching, and please share, everyone. Hey, Ritaja, how are you? Miss Delia, she's always here, and I appreciate your support. If you all could just tag a sister or somebody that needs to hear this information, that would be awesome. I do want to start off with a leading question. We've protested, and now what's next? I heard you say that you're not the one that goes out and protest, but you write letters. So what can we do individually to make this something that we can do, that we're being impactful, that we're doing something that's going to be advantageous for the moving forward if we're not able to get out in the streets and protest?
Okay. So there's 4 things that I recommend that all of us can do, or some of us can do, and you can do this no matter where you are. So the first one is you can learn to advocate effectively. The second is you can run for office if you're in that space. The third thing is that you can register to vote and then go and actually vote. And the fourth thing is, I would say you can lead from wherever you are. You can be a person that's not registered to vote just yet because maybe you have a convicted felon on your record. You can still lead from where you are. You can go and help other people register to vote. You can encourage other people and empower them to vote because you don't have the right to vote because it hasn't been restored. Or you may be a teenager who's tired and you might,
Right.
and you're like, what can I do? There are things that you can do, but those are the 4 things that I would encourage people to do: is to advocate for the issues that are important to you and your community. And I tell people it takes less than 5 minutes to be able to write a letter. It takes less than 5 minutes to pick up the phone call and call your elected official and let them know what's important to you. If criminal justice is the issue in your community, if economic development is the issue in your community, if better schools is the issue in your community, you have to be able to pick up the phone, let them know what the issue is, and or write a letter about that issue, or go to social media and post on their page and say, listen, I'm not able to come to your office and meet with you, but you need to know this is what I'm advocating for in my community. And so that's what, when I talk about advocacy, I'm called America's 5-minute advocate in other parts. And so I always encourage people, get involved and engage. You don't have to be an advocate like me, where this is my full-time job, this is what I do. But you can do something once a week, once a day, once a month, once a year. I always say, how many of you all have written the president of this United States? And they ever like, nobody's writing Trump these days. Okay, that's fine. How many of you wrote President Barack Obama or President Bush or President Clinton? That's part of advocacy. That's part of building that muscle that requires you to engage in the process outside of just voting or protesting, which are good ways to be civically engaged. But guess what? There's something called follow-up. How many of us really remember and know that if I ask Joya out to dinner, well, Joya need to follow up with me, or I need to follow up with her afterwards and make sure we're going, and give her some details about where it's going to be, you know, who we're joining, what we're going to eat, and all of those. It's the same thing with advocacy. You got to follow up. The key is in the follow up with that elected official or that decision maker. So that's what I would say. The first thing is, I always say, learn to effectively advocate. Because even if you're not a voter and you're not going to run from office, you can write a letter. You can be a 6-year-old. You see, there's 6-year-olds that are developing campaigns around making masks and stuff for COVID. They're actually advocating for healthier communities by way of what they're doing. So I would say the key definitely is in follow-up. The next one is, if you are of age, and I always talk to a lot of women about running for office, not enough of us are involved in politics in that way. Oh my God, I don't want to do that. They're doing the most over there, right? Or I don't think, I can because, my mom and them done all of this stuff back in the day. Or I did some stuff back in the day that I'm not proud of. So I don't want people in my business. Everybody have skeletons. So guess what? You just roll with it. If you're fighting for your community and you want to represent your community, you can run for school board, city council, Congress, president of these United States, because we can see what we already got in there now. So guess what? There is no excuse why you can't be involved in the process. And so even if you don't run, you should still support someone else that is running. You should be like, let me knock on doors for you. Let me do the phone banking for you and volunteer in some way. So I really don't deal with people who have a whole lot of excuses about not being involved in the process. I just be like, I'm out. We can't even be friends because this is what makes. And so that's the third one. The other one is, vote. We have these huge GOTV campaigns. Get out and vote. But nobody's following up with them to make sure they made it to the polls when they come. I mean, we do this thing called Souls Put to the Polls, but I think after that, you need to follow up with them and tell them what issues they should be advocating for in their communities. Many people blindly go and vote for Democrat, blindly go and vote for Republican, blindly go and vote for independents. My thing is, but what are you asking them and what are you holding them accountable to at the end of the day? And the last thing I will say is lead from wherever you are. Lead from wherever you are. You may be a young person between the ages of 10 to 21 and you're not registered because you just ain't got time for that. But I would say there are things that you can do. And so lead from where you are.
That's good. I don't know, Teresa, if you have a follow-up question. Chonya, you
can go.
Okay. You gave us so much to think about. And I have No, that's good. This is good. I have a lot of different questions, but I did want to go back and just ask you, as you were talking, I was thinking about, wow, I could do this or this. Do you recommend being connected to other maybe women's groups, for example? I know that there are groups that will teach you the ins and outs of the political process. That happened a couple of years ago where we saw the influx of women who were voted in. Do you recommend those kinds of groups for people who might not know exactly where to start if they wanted to run for office, for example?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, point of personal privilege. I'm just going to look behind me. I wrote a book.
Oh.
it's always good to find resources that can help you. So this is one of my latest books, which is called She's Political, Running in Heels. And so this book helps you support yourself if you decide to run. It also helps you support a candidate. In it, I go about she runs, she leads, she wins. And it has some key takeaways. And so, Joy, if you send me your guys' address, I can, send some copies down there. But it talks about purpose, passion, plan, platform, your pitch, 60, and people. All the things you need to be successful in running for office or supporting someone to run for office. Back to getting involved with organizations. Yes, organizations can be a catalyst, but I've also found where people's light is then dimmed because they didn't get the right network. And so you just make sure you're plugging into a network that's going to pour into you and encourage you to stay the course. Some get an organization where they're like, we only got one person that's going to run for office and it's going to be this person. Well, the truth of the matter is it can be any one of us because there's so many positions that we can run for. We can be a county clerk. We can be a justice of the peace person. We could be a school board member or a city council member. You can even serve as an appointed political person on a Democratic Central Committee. There's not just one position. So I would say just be mindful of the organizations that you go into, because some of them are there to build you up and some of them are there to make you work. And then you don't get what you're going for. So there's a number of them. We can certainly stay connected offline. And if I can recommend some to you, I would. And I'm trying to think, I'm not going to put nobody out there right now because there are a number of organizations that I could recommend, but because they're not right in my head, I can't do that. But I will tell you, there's an organization called Run and Start. I'll give them a shout out. Susanna runs that organization with Jessica Grounds. They helped me when I ran for office in 2010. I stand behind that organization. It supports young women. It is for, high school, college students. However, they have good information that you can just latch on to and just say, oh, let me do one of their little seminars or whatever the case may be. But there's another number of them. But because I'm not a part of an affiliate program, I'm not going to put them out there because they ain't putting me out there, right? But yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's excellent. I appreciate that. And so another thing I was thinking about, and when you said register to vote and then vote, there are so many people who are registered to vote and they have not voted. Like they've not participated in any election, not even primaries, not local, anything. And so I think it's a key thing. Today is Juneteenth. Like it marks a very significant day in the lives of African Americans. And I think that we need to empower ourselves with what we have a right to do. We have a right to vote. And so a lot of people, I think they just take it for granted, or the younger generations, they don't get the concept behind what our forefathers had to fight through to even get the recognition to be a full person and not 1/5 of a person, or to come out of slavery. And so it's not just a right, it's not just a privilege, but it's an obligation. We have an obligation to vote. So until we educate ourselves and equip ourselves with the knowledge that we need to even make the decisions, we're really it's a disservice to our communities. It's a disservice to our arguments. It's a disservice to our protests when we don't use one of the key resources, or they say that they don't hear our voice, so we want to protest. Your voice is in your vote. Like if you vote, like President Barack Obama, the beloved, we love, the sainted President Barack Obama, he said, don't boo, vote. And so it takes something like, so I know a lot of people who say, there's no person in office that represents me exactly. Like, so I'm a Christian, I'm sanctified. There is no sanctified person running for office until one of us do. And that's not my plight, but it's just, I'm looking for the lesser of two evils. And at this point for November, I'm voting for a competent adult, which, right, I don't want to say who my vote is, but it's not for the one that's in office right now. Right. And I'm telling the majority of who I would imagine America is voting for, because if we divide our votes, then it ends up being a situation where, that person will get in again because we've divided our votes when we could have done something different.
Right. And I would say, I see someone in a comment, church girl next door, she said, I think we have to address the loss of hope. And maybe you love us all. I saw one of your comments up there about love. Here's the thing. Young people are discouraged. And here's, I think about, I'm like, why are you so discouraged? One of the things I do often is that when I'm in a place of despair or hopelessness, I borrow the faith of someone else. That life is not always easy for all of us, but the thing is we cannot grow weary in well doing. And so young people who are out there who are disappointed with who the president is, it doesn't just stop with the president. There are so many other offices that we could be engaged in helping to impact policy that then trickles up to the federal level. So you got to get in where you fit in, and you got to get involved in the process. And so some people use this like, oh, the man or this or that to just kind of like bow out of the process altogether. I don't have any feeling for that. You need to find something that's going to motivate you to be involved in the process, because I can't come to you and say, you should do this because it's going to be better for my daughter. You should do it because it's going to be better for you and the next generation. And so people become discouraged. I have no words for them, but other than to tell them, I've been in this thing for 20 years. I have seen good, bad, the ugly, the pretty, all of it. But yet I'm not discouraged, because I know that the work that I do impact people's lives every day. So they need an advocate like me. I didn't go to college just because I wanted to go to college. I was first generation. Someone advocated for a federal student loan program along with a federal Pell Grant program before I was even born. So see what I'm saying? So for that alone, I was able to get a good education because somebody was advocating back in the 70s for me. So my job going forward is to advocate for the next generation, for the people that are hungry, for the people who need resources and better quality schools. So I can't just sit back and be like, oh my God, I'm hopeless, I'm in despair. I'm coming out of that crap real quick. Because it's okay to be there for a little bit, but you got to come up out and figure out, what are you going to do to make the difference? And there's another book that I was reading that talked about, we are the change that we're waiting for. We cannot say, hey, you need to be on the front line. You need to be on the front line. And then I'm not doing anything. No, what are you going to do? What is one thing that you can do that can make a difference in your life, your community life, or someone else's life? And sometimes we have to remove ourselves from it and say, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the next generation. I do youth mentoring, and I used to tell them, I do this because I got a daughter. And if I mentor you, you're going to come along and maybe not mentor my Cassidy, but you're going to mentor somebody else's child. You need to see a woman like me involved and engaged in your life. So that's, you guys got me going. All right.
But you know what I think is so good about what you said is a lot of times motivation or the lack of motivation comes when you're just not engaged in anything, when you kind of are sitting back. And that's what people do. That hopelessness comes in because you're looking at the big picture. You're looking perhaps at the presidency or whatever, and you're saying, oh my goodness, there's no hope. But I love what you said, that when you get engaged in something, there's so many levels to engagement, right?
Yeah.
If it is school board or being a commissioner or just volunteering, I volunteer in my community, and I took my daughter out. We're just giving out food. We got our masks on, we're social distancing, but it's just an opportunity to be able to help someone else. So I would just also say the more you get engaged, the more motivated you'll become to see that you can make a difference. Maybe you're not, in the running to be the president or whatever, but you can do something small, and that's going to fulfill that hunger, like you said, and make you more hungry for something more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sometimes voting can be intimidating, especially when you don't necessarily know what all of the initiatives really entail. Most people don't take the time to read through all of those things, and we don't really understand the ramifications of some of the things that we have on our agenda. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, about making informed decisions? Are there resources that we can go to fully understand the measures and the initiatives that are put through our legislation?
Yeah, so I would say this. One of the things I did when I did my launch in Houston last year for She's Political, I've had the 5-Minute Advocate for a while, but when I did She's Political Running in Hills, I said, I used to want to do this 1 million campaign, 1 million advocates. But now I said, you know what? I want 1 million concerned voters, interested people to just reach out to me. Like, I mean, I've had the same number for 20 years. I'm like, if you have a problem, I don't care where you at in these United States or these ununited states, you can call me and I know somebody somewhere that I can say, hey, so-and-so is on the ballot. I got somebody who wants to know who they should vote for. Use persons as resources. The other thing is, it's not enough to use it as an excuse as I don't know who to vote for. Somebody in hopefully your nucleus of family or extended family, a friend is going to the polls to vote. So, think about doing a buddy system. Think about doing a girlfriend vote day where we get together and we look at the ballot and we go through it, because it does take research. Unless you just vote in straight party line, like all Democrats, which I don't totally support that idea, but some people take the easy way out. And so they just like, I'm voting straight ticket. To each his own. I go through it. I lived in Texas, and so Texas is what they call now is turning purple, but it's really a red state. So my member of Congress was a white Republican. So guess what? I had to then look closely at the issues that he supported to see if I could support him. I wasn't going to sit the election out, but then what I did is started advocating for issues that I knew would impact that community I lived in. And it was a well-off suburb. Joe, you know where we live. There was no crime, or not that we knew of. But the thing is, they still had issues with the school district. So guess what? I'm still going to vote. I'm just going to vote and then advocate. But I would say use the buddy system and don't wait till the last minute. We generally know 3-4 months ahead of time who is on the ballot. So I used to tell people, go to their website and read about them. But everybody know we can make a website look and say whatever we want to. But that's where it becomes informed to say, who does that person know? My daughter goes to school in this district. This person said they want to be the superintendent of schools. Like, what have they done? Have they been involved? Do they even have kids in the school system? Not that you can discount a person because of that, but then you know their level of investment. You know whether or not they have dealt with the school system as intimately as you have. They want to be on a board of appeals or be a commissioner or a city council member. Somebody knows that person. And so it's just going to take a little bit more effort on your part by doing your research beforehand. You can't wait till day off. Generally, I was the 2000 something Carrie Chapman winner for honoree, which is an award that I received among peers in Houston, Texas, from the League of Women Voters, because I wrote out my statement of what I felt we needed more of in the community, in which it was all about advocacy, because that's my thing. And I won that award, and I was so proud. And I said, now that is an organization that you can tap into, which is the League of Women Voters. They have all over the United States, and you can see that they pull out a voter's guide. They also have other organizations like the Sierra Clubs and all of these others who do what we call not surveys, but let's just call it a survey. They'll do a write-up of each candidate if the position is high up, if it's Congress, if it's mayor, if it's governor, also propositions that are bond issues that are on the ballot. They'll break down what it means. And then you can go and follow those on social media in some cases and say, okay, what's the difference? Why we want to increase taxes by, $1 million or whatever the case may be. You have to be a more engaged citizen to really be able to be engaged in the process. So that's the best answer I could give, is that you can't wait till the last minute. You gotta be like, okay, 2 months out, hey girls, hey guys, who y'all voting for? Start having conversation. I was talking to this guy, y'all, you know I'm dating now, right? You probably don't know that. I gotta let you know, girl. But anyway,
maybe we need to come on.
We're gonna bring you back for another show.
Wait. First of all, I was married. So Joy and I had talked in a while, but I got a divorce, girl, 4 years ago. But anyway, most people don't know that, but now I'm dating, and because I'm dating, I'm talking to these guys, and I'm very politically engaged. So I want to know, are you registered to vote? Like, I can't be talking to you if you're not registered to vote. I just can't do it, because I'm like, so what you doing? Like, anyway. So I was saying that to say something. Y'all done threw me off. Oh my God. But I was saying that to say that people got to be registered to vote. Oh, so you're supposed to have your guys, your girls, whoever voting parties get together, look at the ballot, call it a ballot party. Look at the ballots together and say, hey, who you voting for? Who you know who knows this person? Or let's call so-and-so over here to ask him about that candidate, because you'll learn more. Not that you got to take that person's word for it, but the truth of the matter is, oh, that was, I asked this guy who he was voting for. Oh, I got to keep it to myself. I was like, really? Like, no, you don't. I said, that's what they want you to do. But here's the thing. If you share with Tanya, Chonya, Carrie, and all of us over here, and Dana or whoever's voting, then guess what? I'm going to be like, oh, I think I should consider voting for this person because all my friends are voting for them. And now I need to figure out why I'm going to vote for them, because they support XYZ, not because your friend is voting for them, but now I can look a little bit closer at the candidate. So that was the thing. I had asked the guy who he voted for, and he wouldn't tell me, and I was like, we done. Because no, you need to keep it a secret that you're going to vote this coming November, and you don't want to tell me. That means your butt probably not going to vote at all. Because I'd be like, oh, I'm voting for Biden. You know, or hey, I'm voting for Trump. Just let it out there. But anyway, that's what I was saying that about the guy. Okay, we'll talk about
no, but that's great. I love that. And another thing with someone else said, you know, they get really discouraged, or that this whole new generation or the millennials are turned off by all of this. But nothing is going to change until they become active, until they vote. And so while it can be overwhelming, it's necessary. Things that it's not going to be easy to make a change in the United States, to make a change in what we're doing. It's going to take an effort. Put in some elbow work. Put in some time to even understand what the issues are that we're voting for. It does take a long time to go through the ballot, especially when you're voting on the local things, because you don't know all of the sheriffs, you don't know all of the judges, you don't know all of the politicians that are in that particular district. But take the time to do it. I think that if we, I think it's an excuse to say, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, it's just too much, I just can't. Because every vote that you don't cast is a vote for the person we don't want in office. So it's like we have to take some type of responsibility for ourselves to say, I'm going to take the time to learn about the issues and what I'm most concerned with. And if you want an easy way out, vote blue. Vote one whole slate if that's what you want to do. But at least we know that we have a vote for us and not against us, because if you do nothing, you're voting essentially against anything we have power to do.
Yes. Amen. Now, guess what? When y'all start talking about ballot parties, make sure y'all give Chonya her credit. Chonya J, 5-minute advocate.
Chonya J.
Ballot parties. And y'all can call me because I'll come and host and just dial in, help y'all figure it out. I see my good friend Tico is on here. She was a candidate down in Houston. But yeah, we got a timeout. Playtime is over. No more excuses. We got to be involved in the process. I'm telling you, I feel like elected officials are making policies every day that impact our lives. Every day they are thinking about policies to maybe do some voter suppression, or maybe to give us reparation. I don't know, but there's policies every day that are being talked about somewhere that's going to impact our lives, and we got to be involved in the process. It's not enough to sit on the sidelines. Not this day. I'm not going to go out there and march, but I'm going to educate some folks and empower some folks to do the work. Get out, get a pen and paper. Here's the other thing I want to tell people. You ain't got to wait for November to vote, like to get your ballot. Request the absentee ballot now. Just request it. If you know you don't want to stand in line in November, why are you waiting? I don't do lines.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm not always VIP, but I find a way to get on up in there, like real quick, because I don't want to stand in nobody lines, whether it be in a club, a restaurant. I'll be like, Lord, gee, just get me to the bar. Get me somewhere. All I'm saying is if you don't like lines, don't wait till November. Go ahead and put your absentee ballot, vote by mail in some states. Like we've always had vote by mail. So some people on social media, don't vote by mail. If you can stand in line for some sneakers and tacos, you can stand in line. Well, we already know they ain't going to do it. So go ahead, get the ballot in advance so that you can have it and you can do the work that you need to do, and you're not waiting till you get the polls to see all the signs, who I should vote for, or all the colored people over here. No, get the ballot, call Chonya or somebody else on this live so that we can help you figure that thing out, because that's what we have to do, is help one another figure it all out. Somebody asked, how difficult is it? It ain't difficult at all. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. I did it. Will I do it again? I don't know. It just depends. I like being a queen maker, and I like educating people and, you know, cheering them on and giving them the resources and the tools, but it ain't hard at all. But guess what? We got this great book. You can order it. You probably can get it on Amazon, but that's the e-version of it. But if you reach out to me afterwards, you know, you can just buy the book from me directly, and I'll have it in the mail to you within a day. Yeah.
Can you just talk to us just a little bit about like how the process, how to even get the process initiated if someone is thinking about running for a local office or some attainable office?
Okay, I know this is, you guys are all women of faith, so you'll understand this. So I'm gonna go to my book as a reference guide, because many people want to do stuff because they clout chasing, and they may be thirsty because they want their name to be in lights and all this other stuff. But the one thing that I had to early on tell people, that when you're running for office, you're running to serve people. You're running to help people. It should not be because I want to look cute in a St. John's suit. It should not be because I want to be able to roll with the celebrities when they come to town and all of that other stuff. It is about serving people. It is about keeping the interest of the people before your own. And you're going to have your own interests, but it is about serving people. But here's the thing. I have 5, 6 of them. You need to know the purpose, which the purpose is about serving people. So figure that out real quick. And you have to have a passion for people. So purpose, passion, and then you develop a plan. The plan is as simple as a one piece of paper to say, I want to run for this office, who, what, when, where, why. It's just that simple. You then say, hey, you have to decide what office you want to run for. So you might be something like school board, or you might be city council, or you may be like, I'm a lawyer and I want to be a clerk of courts or whatever, a justice of peace person. It's just that simple. And then you go online, you can look for campaign templates. You can call me, you can use this book as a resource or whatever the case may be. But you have to have a compelling story to be able to convince someone that I want to run for office. So what is that story? I ran for office in 2010 because I felt like we needed to get back to the basics. I felt like the schools, and this was my campaign pitch: accountability, better investment, community collaboration. That was the ABCs of my campaign. You see how I pulled that together? Back to the basics. ABC, accountability, better investment of resources, and then community and collaboration. So because that was my pitch, people knew. And I would add stories to why I was running, because I had a daughter in school that I really felt like the teachers accountable to parents. The administrators needed to be accountable to parents. Mm-hmm. Like, we're paying all this tax money, and here we can't have decent.
Chonya, I think you're frozen.
You frozen for me? Okay, I thought it was just me.
No.
Pop her out and pop her back in.
I know, I'm going to do that.
Well, while she's coming back in, this is phenomenal information. I hope a lot.
This is helping me.
Yeah,
I know I needed it. Yeah, because we just talked for the last few weeks about, and I think she's trying to come back in now. Okay, are you back yet?
I'm here. I'm sorry, this is late. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Let me see. Our live comments. Okay. So I say that there's a number of reasons, but it doesn't take much to run for office. I mean, you do need resources. And I'll do that. So once you develop your plan, you develop the platform in which you're going to stand on based on the office you're running for. You develop a pitch 60, which is a 60-second pitch, which is your first, hey, I'm Chonya Johnson. I'm running for school board. I think the school should get back to the basics immediately. XYZ. And then you need people power campaigns. You cannot do it alone. You're going to need your good cousins, your good girlfriends and boyfriends. You're going to need people. So that's why it's important that you build that sort of team in developing it. But it's not hard to do at all. I hope those were some helpful resources. I'm not able to give it all to you, but just be thinking, and when you get ready to do it, you can just call me. I'll give you 15, 20 30-minute consult and say, hey, do this, do that, consider this, consider that. And it's just not hard to do, and more of us need to do it. And let me say this. I used to do a campaign called Elect Her. I would go on college campuses and I would talk to students about doing it. And the number one thing is girls always needed to be asked to run for office. Women have to be asked. So I'm going to ask each of you, run for office. Will you run for office? Will you run for office? Will you run for office? So I've already asked you. So now you just need to do it. For men, you don't even have to ask them. Men got no skills. They don't know what they're doing, but they're like, I'm running for office. They figure it out when they get there.
Say that again.
That's so true.
They figure it out when they get there. They don't need the cosign and the validation of other people to run for office to represent. And here we represent people all day long, but we will not do it until someone say, will you run for office? So I always encourage, will you run for office? Will you do it for the little black girl or the little white girl? Mm-hmm. Will you run for office? And so many times we need to be asked, but men, they just do it. And I want us to adopt that behavior and mindset of just do it. Because we need you. We know that you can represent just as well as a man. We need you at the table because you're going to bring a unique perspective about being a mother in the workplace, about being a, even if you're not a mom, you could just be like, look, I'm a working woman and these taxes are crazy on me. So I need to figure out how I can get some extra resources and things like that. So I would just say, I am a resource to your audience. You guys just reach out to me and I'm going to help as best as I can and or connect you with someone that can really support you in that area.
Let me insert this too for all the women listening. That's not true just for running for office. That's true for getting promotions. That's true for applying for jobs. Men will, if they think they got 20% of what's necessary, they'll move, but we got to sit down and have 100%. So listen to the ladies of ATN and our wonderful guests today. Move. This is the season. Don't just sit there anymore. Take what you've got. You got it in you right now. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Tonya, I want to ask a quick question, Teresa. When I was doing research, Tonya, one thing I heard you say that I thought was so good, I was going to ask you to elaborate on is
just one thing. No, just kidding.
What'd you say?
No, you said there was just one thing you said was good. I said just one thing, but it's
one thing I wanted you to elaborate on that was good among the many good things you said. You said your voice matters more than your vote. And I thought that was really intriguing. Can you just talk about what you meant by that?
So I'm not discouraging people not to vote. So just know this, so if I'm in a Republican district or a district that does not, that doesn't have my representation, and I may not even vote. Seriously, there are so many people that are for religious reasons, they don't vote, but you still advocate because you still have issues that are going on in your community. No one is going back to say, did you vote in the last election when you write a letter? They're not doing that. So I'm saying, even if you don't vote, your voice still matters because you still have the opportunity based on the Constitution that says we can petition our government for whatever it is we want to. Access automatically granted. So that's my other book. Y'all see, I'm pulling out the books.
I love it.
5-Minute Advocate book, access granted based on the U.S. Constitution. You don't have to have voted because in the Constitution it says we can petition our government. And we do that by way of advocacy. Mm-hmm. Constitution say we the people. They don't say some of the people. They talk about all of us who are citizens of these United States. We have the right to petition and use our voice, even if we don't vote. So that's why I tell people you can still be involved in the process and be an advocate. Our young people who are not able to, when you think about the little girl, the climate change little girl, I cannot remember her name.
Greta.
Yeah, but she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't. Voting age. She's like 13, 14 years old, but she used her voice to advocate for people. And I'm saying you can still use your voice, and your voice matters because that is what's going to trickle in, even though they voted for me because of my platform and all of that. Now you are the ambassador in your community to advise them as to what's going on in your community by your voice. By using your voice, whether it be on the phone or writing a letter or taking to social media to tell them what's going on in your community. They still need to be informed. Even if they're elected, they're not, after they kiss the babies on Sundays in churches and be in all your 4th of July parades, they don't come back. And so it's important that you go to them and say, hey, Did you remember you said XYZ? So let me show you what we need for this community. That's why it's important that we gotta stay in the process.
That's good.
Speaking of using your voice, Joya, we haven't heard from you this entire show. We need to hear from you, baby. What are your thoughts about this conversation?
I think she's muted.
Joy, are you muted? Unmute your mic. There you go.
I know her phone was messed up before.
Yeah, now she's muted.
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it shows that you're muted.
Oh.
Can you hear me back here? It shows. Now we can hear you.
I can't understand anything anyone is saying.
You what?
Connecticut is trying to kick her out. They won't let her be great.
Right. That's right. That's why she's coming home tomorrow. Listen. Well, let me say this. All this information. Okay, go ahead, Julia.
Okay. I heard some of your. Can you hear me, Chonya?
You're gonna have to type your question in the comments. You're gonna type your question in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on with her phone. I don't know what's going on. Joy, are you there now?
Look like she's coming back in. Look like she's coming back in. But she.
Joy, you can type your question. Let me just say this while she's getting her question together. I love this so much because I've always wanted to do something. And like I vote, I always vote. I've never had an opportunity to go by where I didn't vote, but I've never run for office. I always thought it was so difficult to do until I saw the person that's in the office now has 0 qualifications. It's the only office it's the only job in the world you don't need any prerequisites to do. It's just ridiculous. So I definitely want to get involved. I sit on a board at a school and I'm able to change things that happen in the district because I sit on the board, because I have an ear to what's going on in that community. And so I'm saying that for everybody in your communities, wherever you are, if you have children, cousins, relatives, anybody in that area, you should be able to speak up for what's going on. Essentially, you get a platform and say, this is, and we're not going to use any more of your quotes out of your book. We're going to have everybody buy it, Chonya. But if you give us your website before we go, I'll make sure everybody has a website where they can contact you and purchase your books. But it's really something I think we're all obligated to do what it is that we can. And we do have a voice because we can talk. And they'll start today is writing a letter. I used to be a good letter writer, and I was the person that wrote in comments for people or gave recommendations to individuals. I was always the writer, and I've gotten away from that because I've not put pen to paper to mail it, but I'm going on their websites. Our president tweets all the time. So if at the very least, we can go on by educating those who are around us by putting it on social media, or going to their social media page to say, hey, what are you doing about this in our communities? And everybody has some type of platform where you can reach them, or at least get a message to somebody that's going to hear what it is that you have to say. So I love that. And I will start that today by going on the social media platforms of the individuals who are sitting in positions of power that can do something about it, or come back to them with the promises that they said they were going to do for us when they were elected to office, if they've not delivered on.
There's not an accountability system, and it's important that we keep our fingers to the pulse and we are engaged. And I hate to say that sometimes they bank on that. They say, well, these people are not engaged. They just riled up because of Black Lives Matter going on. But guess what? When election time comes, they're going to be on to something else. Then the next drama show on TV, the next whatever is hot and trending. And so that's what disgusts me about the process. And that's what people get displeasure from politics, because they think it's grimy. It's what you make it. I've been in this game for 20 years, and guess what? I haven't had to get my hands dirty. Like, people be like, you got to do this and that. No, it depends on who you are, and then what you bring to the table, and who God has created you to be. So,
good.
Be doing the
I love it.
people like that. I know who I was created to be and do, so I'm not going to do all of that. For me, it don't take all of that. So I do what it is. I impact change, and then I bring like-minded people along and get them involved and engaged in the process. But I always go back to, I'm never going to grow weary with well doing. I know that all is well with my soul, my intentions. I don't just tell people to vote for people just because they're Black or white or Republican or Democrat. You have to sincerely sit down and look at it and see. Now, in some cases, you may encourage people to vote straight Democrat ticket, because that's what you believe is in the best interest of that area. But we got to do our homework. Sitting on the sidelines, timeout, that's over. Playtime is totally over. Just having the right connections, our way call it. It's give and take. But here's the thing: the connections can keep you there, but they won't keep you there. You need to be qualified. That was a question. I'm sorry. I'm y'all probably like, what?
No, that's good.
No, that was a good. That was good.
Somebody on the screen. So forgive me. But so like connections can get you somewhere, but qualifications are going to keep you there. I tell people all the time, I work for different members of Congress, you can hire your friend all you want, but they better have a heart for the people. They better know what they're doing when they're talking to people. You can't get an attitude. It's like some folks that work at fast food. Do not work at the counter when time you come in, because I do have 10 questions about the menu behind your head that you see every day, and they got attitudes, and I'm like, I don't understand.
That's what you're there for.
Yeah, like you don't need to be in customer service. So when it comes to public service, you need to have a heart for people, because it's about serving people. That's
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Chonya, for being with us today. This has been very enlightening for me. Last week I was on my Black Panther. I think for the last 3 weeks I was on my Black Panther mood. But I am going to move forward and take action and do what it is that I can do to make change. I want to see change, and I'm going to be the change that I want to see. So in our last minutes, if you can just tell us how we can get in contact with you. Is there an email address or a website where people can reach out?
Yes. Okay, so y'all, well, I ain't even gonna go through the excuse. Listen, if you want to reach me, my cell phone, and you can text me. If you're interested in buying the book, I'll send you my Cash App right back. But I did put it in the private chat for one of you to just share. But my cell phone is 301-996-5635. People like, you give out your cell phone? Yeah, because if I want to talk, I talk. If I don't, I don't. If they text me, I answer. If I don't text you right away, that's because I'm busy. It's okay. It's a cell phone number. There's something called block.
What is the number again? It's
301-996-5635. I use our Cash App system, which is a sister system to Square. But Square takes your money, and I'm not trying to get my money. So you can use the Cash App. You can Cash App me at the Cash App sign CDJ5402. But text me and let me know what you're interested in. If you buy one book, it's $15 for your guests today. If they buy two of like She Political 5-Minute Advocate, you can get two for $25.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to let you go down and we're going to wrap up. But thank you so much. We will be getting in contact with you. This was awesome conversation today, ladies. I am so grateful that she was here, because you guys know I was on the edge, right? And it's the title of our entire program today is We've Protested Now What? Although there are so many more things we can protest about. But now what do we do? What is it that we need to do? And I think, just as we've discussed today, we have to take action. We have to do something at some point just to make the change or be the change that we want to see. And I don't have any, I guess, tolerance for the excuse of it's just too much, or it's just so bad, or I'm so discouraged. Like, until you get up and do something about it, nothing is going to be done. And I think that we lost our last election because there were so many people who said it's not going to change anyway. It's not going to do any good. My one vote won't count. Every vote counts.
That's right.
So I'll go around and let everyone say their last goodbyes or their final thought. Ms. Dana, your final words.
I am super excited to have had this conversation. She gave so much good information, and I love the fact that now we have a place to direct our frustration, our disappointment, and our anger in a positive way that's going to bring about change. So I absolutely loved everything about this conversation. And I hope people will pay attention and tag some people in the replay, tag some people that you think should run for office. I'm seriously considering it now. But you know, just to be a small part of the change you want to see, like you were saying.
I love it. Miss Dr. Batista.
Yes, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the conversation as well. You know, I've been thinking about running for office for a while, so I'm definitely going to get Chonya's books. And she was just a wealth of information. And I love a couple of things that she said, that, you know, her character is what keeps her. She knows who she is. She knows what her purpose is about. There are a lot of people who say, don't join politics because you're going to have to, you know, be corrupt and all of that. I've never believed that. And I think she's living proof of that. One thing I was going to tell Georgia voters, and this is really, really important, for the primaries, they sent out the ballots to everybody. They are not doing that for November. So you have to, if you want an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot, you've got to do that yourself. Take that initiative. And then the very last thing, Teresa, is, you know, we should not look at voting like we do cramming for a test. Part of the reason people are intimidated is because you try to take all of this information in the day before, or sometimes the day of. Today, start looking at the issues, start looking at platforms, start looking at the content, because it's going to impact us for the rest of our lives. So we can't cram for this. If it's that important, start getting the information now. And so there is no intimidation. You're going to be very clear on who it is that speaks to you, your values, and moving forward. That's all.
That's excellent. Thank you. And we'll try Joya one more time. If you can unmute yourself, Joya. Do you have any final thoughts?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. What I did hear, one of the things that I did get out of it was, I think Dr. Matissa just said it, but the research, because just to be honest, voting before my past, I would just be like, okay, Democrat, they're Democrat. Okay, they're Democrat. Oh, I like their name. But now I know that I need to, like, okay, I'm going to research these people, know what it is that we need. And I love the idea of not only just voting, but using my voice. So calling, using, I never would have thought going on their social media platform. So that I was just like, oh my God, it's such a simple, you know, concept, but that's huge. And so like, I really appreciate that, this information that she gave us. And just now we know a next step. So now we protested, now we know what's next. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you so much, Joy. I appreciate it. And so with all the information that we have today, I think that we have at least 3 people. Joy didn't say it, but I think I want to run too. I'm going to do something. I've always wanted to. It's always been, it's such a corrupt thing to do. But I want to, because of the voices that we have, and we're very strong Black women, we can make a change. And so, you know, vote for me. I vote for you. Matissa, Dana, Joy, if you want to jump in. But let's be the change we want to see. So eventually we can have all things new. There we go. New. Bye, guys. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you.
Everybody.
We appreciate it.